All right, another episode. RSL Random Fan Podcast coming live from everywhere. RSL went into San Diego. I'm your host, Brad Goble. Before we get too far away from that, I'm your host, Brad Goble, joined by Tyler and Brenda Manunja. So I didn't forget. Hello. So RSL went down to San Diego. And starting lineup, San Diego. We'll do that really quick, and then we can jump into all the great stories Tyler is going to regale us with of his time in San Diego. So Cabral in the goal. Hidalgo on the right, which I was surprised. Vera, Quinton, and Catranis across the back, and Ellie and Ojeda in the middle. Gozo getting the start. First start in Major League Soccer for the young man from Eagle Mountain. Diego Gonzalez, I don't know if you know this, but he's a designated player. And Aria Piol. So that was the starting lineup. The bench, Junqua, Stadohar Ruiz, I gotta go from Kansas City. Tyler Wolf, Caliscan, Palacio, Brook, and Barea. No Johnny Russell on the bench. We can talk about that too. So
yeah, late addition, but didn't make the bench.
Tyler Thomas and brothers made the trip down to San Diego.
And we're
to hear all your stories.
All three of the highlights when they show the crowd, we're in all three of them. So I'm wearing this. It's kind of easy to pick me out because I'm a bald guy, but I'm wearing the cap that Brant's wearing right now. So yeah, it's pretty easy to pick out. A couple times the sun was in our eyes, which, guys, it was a great day. It was a beautiful Southern California day. We're right there, San Diego State University. It's a beautiful, beautiful stadium, man. Like, they've redone it. It's beautiful. We did like 4 or 5 laps around because we got there early. And they said parking was going to be this huge pain. It ended up not being a big deal. We parked at the park, and they have free parking basically at the park. So got in, got out quick. I mean,
free parking? That's
I know.
Amazing.
But if you pulled up and went in their parking lot, it was $55.
Yeah, I was just going to say, massive charges down there.
And then
in the larger markets.
Yeah, they said to go and park in the mall parking lot and take the tram in. It's like 3 stops. And it looked like a lot of people did that based upon the way the game emptied out after. But yeah, we got there 2 hours early though. So, we were standing there when the gates opened to walk in
to be there? Is that why?
Enjoy game day.
Tell us about it. What was the experience in San Diego being an away fan? How are they excited to see you? How's it going?
So I mean, I always feel like I'm home when I'm at the Riot. You know what I mean? So that's never the issue. But when I'm on the road, like I've been to Portland and a couple guys, were like, "Hey man, the best beer's over here," stuff like that. Super not helpful to me, but could be really helpful to Brennan. You know what I mean? So
you didn't buy any hot dogs for anybody?
No, only one guy was like, "Oh, hey, random fan, I know your podcast." And I was like, "Hey, man." And I was like, he was eating something when he was talking to me. And I was like, "Oh, hey, on the podcast, I said if anybody called me out, I'd give them a hot dogs. You want me to buy you a hot dog?" He's like, "Nah, man, I'm good. Thanks, though." But there were a fair amount of people there, probably 150 or so, maybe 200 at most.
Well, it looked like a good turnout on the broadcast.
Yeah, we filled up that section 210, basically, which is the far corner of the stadium, which is fine. It's the opposite of their, supporter section, which is fine. We were doing laps around the stadium, and we got close to the supporter section, and one of the guys was like, "Oh, get out of here, get out of here!" But he was playing and having a good time. We just played along with him and stuff. Then we went up and sat down probably 10 minutes before kickoff, and man, I gotta say, 90% of the fans there, just awesome people, cool people, doing good stuff. Even the 10% that were less than stellar were still awesome in the fact that they wanted to cheer, they wanted to yell, they wanted to get after it. But I think you cross the line when
we
score
and you're fans, right?
Yeah, we're talking about just RSL fans so far. Because almost everybody from San Diego was cool. They were chill. In fact, even the security guard that was by us, he was like, "You guys aren't LAFC fans, so I appreciate that." Because I was like, "Are we giving you a hard time, man, as a group?" And he's like, "Well, you're not LAFC fans. Those guys suck, man." And I'm like, "Yeah, they suck. I don't know." Calling out a whole nother fan base, but I guess it was a rough game for him when LAFC was there. But then, like 10% of the Real fan base just thinks they can do whatever they want. They think they can double bird people in their own stadium and yell at them and call them out and take that, you this, that, and the other, and do chants and cheers that like don't belong in MLS at all, in my opinion. Like calling out their grandma and their mom and talking about how they're going to take a crap on them and stuff. Like that's not sport. That's not the other team. You don't want the other team doing that to you, right? Like, yeah, just there were some classless things we saw, and I was like, I turned around because we were like the buffer. So just think of a wall 6 wide, well 5 wide. Me and my brothers were all about 6 feet, 220 to 250. Like that's us. 5 of us, and we were kind of the wall between the family section where people were sitting down and chill and having a good time, and kids were around, and then like the crazy rowdy yelling F you to the other team and their fans in their own stadium. And I was just like, that's too much, man. That's not fandom anymore. Now you're being just a jerk, and like that's too far, man. Like I don't know how you manage that though. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this because I know there's two old guys here. Well, I was gonna see what Brennan thinks of that take. Where is there a line to cross if you're somewhere like Tyler was saying, Brennan? I'm just curious because you're from the younger generation.
Um, I don't know. I think if you're like away and you're in a big group, it's anybody's choice, really. Because I mean, you think about when you watch Premier League games. If you've been to one, there is no happiness towards the other team in any shape or fashion. So like, it's honestly for me, I think it's just fun because it's just somebody expressing themselves. I mean, it is negative, but it's kind of funny at the same time. I I don't know. I don't really get to like, hey, don't say that. That's rude. I don't ever really do that. But
Yeah, I mean, like I understand that point of view too, and that's why, tolerance for me. I didn't say anything. I wasn't mean to them. I just let them be who they are. I was standing by the Yu-Gi-Oh head dude. You know what I'm talking about? The guy with the
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh flaming head. Yeah. His name's Daniel. He's a nice guy, but he just lets it rip the whole game. Just stuff like that. Just super obnoxious, which is fun for a while, and then after a while, you're like,
Are you saying everything in moderation, Tyler?
I don't know. But I'm a tolerant guy, so I was just high fiving him and like, yeah, bro, just cheering him on. Like I had nothing mean or bad to say. But the guy that was there with his kid, he moved down 3 rows to get away from him.
Yeah, there's
You
time
know
to
what
be
I mean? Like,
ridiculous.
but then it was funny because when they scored, everybody's cheering and a lot of people were directing like their comments towards us. And I looked down on the field and the two little ball kids, oh my gosh, it was so freaking funny. The kids collecting balls when they go out, right? Those guys, they go over and they're like, oh, where? It was so good, man. It was a great comeback because we were whining about that soft, super soft PK, and they were like, "Ooh, woo, woo." It was funny. It was classy, like stay classy, Salt Lake, Anyway, that was kind of my fan take from being at the game. Um, super fun, super cool stadium, light breeze. The sun was out most of the game. Most of us wore jackets, but I took my, Levi jacket and had to take it off because I was getting too hot. So beautiful space, beautiful game. The result ended up amazing. So that was super cool. And obviously San Diego's on my 9 out of 10. I would say overall, amazing experience.
Awesome. I'm glad you could go.
So there you go with that.
I had that circled on the calendar trying to get down there, but I had previous conversation or responsibilities that conflicted, so we didn't make it to that. We are going to get to another RSL away game at some point this season. That's the goal. We went to Colorado last time, and it was a thunderstorm and torrential downpour and lightning and and a loss. So, but glad you brought the win. And I can also share we before we get too far in, before we get into the game, we had Gabe got a fan who shared how he deserved an orange slice, and he got his hat and stickers before the game, put it on. Now it's his lucky hat because RSL won. So we sent him a magic hat. So
Nice.
thanks, Gabe, for listening. Anyone else?
Yeah, I handed out two orange slices in San Diego to the one guy who said, "Hey, random fan, what's up, man?" And then we were just like saying hi to every, RSL fan there. Most of them were pretty cool. So yeah, good times.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the game.
So what'd you think of that
Starting lineup, I was really surprised Quentin wasn't starting at right back.
But Glad was out,
Brandon?
so he had to start in the middle, right?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Glad. Did he pick something up in practice or something?
Yeah, he didn't practice.
He didn't?
He did not practice. No, he sat out of practice, but he still was doing the laps and stuff.
Okay, so it must be an injury then. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that one recurring injury where he keeps getting on his hamstring or something, so he just rests and then it's good. So
That sucks.
maybe he knows it's getting close, and so he sits a game here and there just to, keep it real. And so we already had Quentin in there instead of Glad, which is kind of like for like trade, right?
Yeah.
It's still a solid piece to be placed in the center there. I don't think it is a Glad replacement, but it's sufficient for sure.
Yeah, and then you saw Bodie out on the right, who had a game. I mean,
He had another game. Just to
say he
catch
had a
everybody up.
game.
Oh, man, he participated. Yay!
He was in the game, almost the whole game.
Then that means Anelli has a game every single game. Dude.
Dude, Anelli balled out, dude. He owned them. He was balling the whole game.
He is so good at getting in front of the defender and getting the ball. He's so good. He uses his body, he boxes out. Gosh, that guy is so good. And then you got Ojeda behind him doing his witchcraft. It's so nice. Those double pivots are so clever and good.
So the availability report. Matthew Bell is out with a hamstring. Javane Brown, he's done for the season. That was an ACL. Kobe Henry, he's battling a hamstring. Zach McMath is out with that shoulder. Questionable were Jesus Barea. And Jesus Barea was in the lineup, the 20. Mm-hmm. Justin Glad was out with a thigh, questionable, and Dominic Marchuk with leg. It just says leg.
Yeah, Marchuk didn't practice either, and neither did Barea. Those two were kind of off the side of practice, kind of doing a different thing. At the end, they were walking in the grass with their bare feet. So I don't know if that was part of their therapy or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they have foot issues and that's helping them.
The universe. That's why you get in touch with the universe. So I will say this: we've talked about it. I was really concerned after the last game RSL played. I thought that this had 3-4, 4-2, 4-1 San Diego victory over RSL. I was not hopeful at all going into this game with the last couple of performances for RSL. So I was incredibly surprised at how well they played.
Well, you got to give it to them because San Diego in the first half, the first 15, 20 minutes, they were doing what they've always done so well. Their possession, their passing, their give and goes, I guess you could say. They move up the field so efficiently, and they get into really dangerous spots. But I think we started to figure them out in about the 20th, 25th minute. We started to figure out how they moved the ball up, and they were kind of blocking a lot of channels.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw, I got 4 texts when Cabral came out and cleared the ball and decked Vera. Knocked him out, bro. Because they cut away the coverage, and 2 people is Vera dead? Dude, is Vera dead? What happened? And he was out a long time. Like, he did not move for a good, like, the trainer was there, the doctor got there, and then he started moving. Like, it was scary, man. Like, I was worried for little Brian. I guess he's big Brian,
But
but
when he hit the ground, his arms were up like this, like they're like up, and so he definitely got knocked out. Like
oh,
he was
yeah,
not, he was cold.
he was out for a while. And I guess the commentator said something about him not remembering anything from warm-ups on.
Oh, I
So,
can imagine. That's a Brian Dunseth. Dunny tells a great story of playing with a concussion and how he didn't remember getting on the bus. But watching the game and that hit, it was like I yelled out loud. I was like, "Whoa!" Because he just came out
yeah.
and clobbered him. You're absolutely right. He was out cold. They do show him laying there. He was breathing, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think he was just, I don't know how long he was out, but he knew that he probably shouldn't move until somebody comes and checks him out to make sure, because you never know, especially with, you don't see it very often, but spinal cord injuries, the last thing you want to do is move somebody. So I think he was checking to make sure he could feel all his extremities before he tried to get up. But yeah, it was a violent hit. And I was thinking, that's Cabral, man. He is focused.
But he
He
did miss
is
the ball, and they
no,
didn't score.
he came
That's
out
the
with
part of the point,
intense.
right?
Yeah. I mean, he obviously didn't want to hurt Vera, but I was thinking about other goalies. I think other goalies might not come out with such force.
Did he need
and
to though? Like, did he need to do that?
Maybe not.
You think Vera couldn't have handled that?
Well, I think there were 3 plays in the first half where they just kind of lobbed balls up and it bounced funny and weird, and they got in really good positions. I thought they'd keep doing it, but they stopped going up in the air like that in the second half, and I was like, we did not cover that well enough for them to stop doing it. I don't know why they didn't keep doing it, you know? And the second one almost led to a goal, or the third one, I can't remember, but and Sam like had to recover and had it weird, and it went right back to them, and they got a really good chance, and yeah, it was a little sad and weird, that the way that whole thing went down. But I mean,
I think it was probably the call to make. He wanted to get out there and not let it bounce over instead of wait, and then get it in between and have something happen. I would rather have him do that if he thinks that's what he needs to do than kind of wait in no man's land, which has really burned RSL in the past.
yeah, he was already committed. He had to go for it, right? He probably should have retreated, but he was already committed, so he had to get after it and dive in. And at that point, as a defender, you're looking up, you're trying to find the ball, but then like if your keeper says something, you can pull out sooner maybe. But I don't know if he did or not. Like, it's hard to tell from where I was.
So yeah, I was really pleased with the outcome, obviously, and I was really surprised at how well RSL
That
actually
Vera got
played.
knocked out. That was a good
No,
outcome for you.
no. The end of the game, the total
Oh, why'd
score.
you jump to the end of the game, dude?
What are
We're
you
like,
doing,
what
Tyler?
are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Grant Thomas?
I ruined the surprise. I ruined the surprise for everybody. If you
There's no
didn't know.
anticipation. There's nothing. People listening to this are gonna be like, "Oh my god, they already skipped to the end again."
Well,
Ugh.
I was really surprised because if I would have put money now on RSL getting shellacked, and they didn't. So I
Well,
was really
here's the
happy
thing.
with that.
If I would have heard that we were going to give up a PK, give up a red card, give up a bad foul, and Vera was going to get knocked out, if those 4 things all happened, I was like, yeah, we lost, right? Like, at no point did I think we win under those circumstances, and yet none of it mattered. And I think this is what Pablo was saying, right? Like, well, don't make the game come down to the ref blowing a penalty and giving a stupid penalty to the other team, right? Like, that's like the fourth or fifth really close call that didn't need to be called. That there they gave him a penalty. Like it. Yeah, look, we can talk about that for a minute if you want to talk about that one, Brennan.
No, I'd rather listen to you talk about it because you seem to have a good opinion on it. Because that's your boy.
Katranis, I thought he was your boy.
Oh, duh. Oh, no, you can talk. I don't want to talk.
Before we talk about the penalty, let's talk about the goal. How's that?
Okay.
and from Diego Luna. And when I saw the goal, it reminded me of what Pablo, some post game stuff that Pablo was talking about, where he wants his tens to be making those runs, making those plays, and being a little bit more active going forward. And it reminded me of that goal. I guess it was the Galaxy where Diego Luna was in the box, finding space to send the header in. Remember that one? I think it was the Galaxy, one of those. And it was a similar thing where Diego was going to where he thought the ball would be instead of waiting. And he was able to pick off the ball. And the shot is just world class, that goal. You agree? Disagree? Anyone have any other thoughts on the
Yeah.
goal?
Well, the Willie, they introduced him in the stadium as just Willie Kumaro. He took it wide from McNair, and he played it back to Tverskov, the guy that plays their center. And it wasn't a great pass, and so Diego had to take a step or two to cut that pass off. But once he did, it was him against McNair and McVeigh, the Mick brothers, that play Mick center back for the Mick FC San Diego. And so he took it to both of them. And if you watch the replay, they kick each other on the play. That's one of the funniest parts of the play for me. Is he pulled McNair just to the left a little and then came back right and kicked it just behind his foot. And McVeigh came over and kicked him in the foot as he was shooting. So he kind of like blocked him, but Diego just lifted it just enough. And then it bounced right before it went in. No, it went high. And CJ Dos Santos just didn't get there in time, man. It just had too much whip on it. And
Yeah,
just
he got his fingertips on it.
just right in, man. That was an impressive goal. Impressive too, because it kind of came out of nothing, right?
Yeah.
Just hustle and grit.
One, I like the fact that he didn't wait to try and get around the two players. He took the shot when it was there, and he split them. There's maybe 2 feet between him, and he sends that ball right between them. And I thought, wow, that's a guy that's playing with a chip on his shoulder and some confidence.
Yeah, and a lot of people might not have seen, but Gozo did make the run. So if McVeigh stepped sooner, he would have had a layoff to Gozo. So I mean, obviously McVeigh stepped, hoping Bombino would get back and cover for him, and he just didn't have time enough to cover that before Diego got his shot off. So beautiful finish.
Yeah, just a beautiful strike. Good cadence. It was right in between their rhythm, and it was a little more unique from RSL, which was nice. We were more attacking.
Yeah, I like that a ton.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. I'll talk about it. Okay, that's light as hell. Okay, oh my gosh, that's so light. What is it? So I think the commentators were saying, well, like, yes, he could have got to the goal of the ball, but he's not going to be facing the goal, so it's not like we're stopping something. I don't know. Just looking at it all, I mean, yes, his arm is on him a little bit longer than it should. That's not a penalty. That's soft, in my opinion. Incredibly soft. It needs to be something that VAR can check. You know what I mean? Like, because this is so soft, VAR is not going to check it. They don't need to, because it's not obvious.
Yeah, I
How
think
many goals is this in given up by us that are so soft, silky smooth? Nashville, right? Toronto. Okay, Toronto wasn't a penalty, but still, red card or penalty. It's like,
I don't think I can see where it's not a penalty. Only because, not only, Catranis just have his arm on his shoulder, and he does try, and he's just kind of holding back a little bit, and Godoy feels it, and he does the flop. He looks like a fish, out of water.
everybody
And to me,
do
that-
the flop.
Yeah, I thought that was just a little bit too obvious, and I think I'm surprised he didn't go to the VAR, right? They just like
Because there's no way to overturn that. There's no clear and obvious, because he's
Because it's
he's doing the thing that makes the guy fall, even though it's embellished. He's doing it, even though it's light. It's a matter of an opinion. It's not really soccer fact or anything.
Yeah, but for me, it's not what makes him fall, and that is why you could easily flip that around and give Godoy a yellow for flopping, right? He's holding him up here, and he throws his feet out and falls down. What? Like, that that's how you get the penalty called. That's not what you naturally do, right? You push into him and push away, right? You get your hand on him and push him away so you can go get the ball. But he knew Anelli was going to beat him to it, so he just threw himself to the ground right in front of the ref trying to get a penalty. And he bought it.
Dude, I think Ted Uncle would have given that as just a get up, move on. And that is saying something. If I'm I'm saying Ted Uncle would have done better with these last 3 games. Well, not this one. Yeah, 3 games.
Yeah.
Like, bro, stop it. I don't like these new refs. I don't like them. I'm not a fan of them. I'm honestly a ref hater at the moment.
And Cabral,
Yeah.
it looks like he gets a hand on the PK too. He goes the right way and just was so close.
Under him. Doesn't it go under him? He goes with his left and it goes right underneath. Oh, dude.
Yeah,
I think he
Chucky.
gets a touch on it too.
Yep, Chucky Lozano. He's the, Mexican international. He's got a ton of caps for Mexico. He's one of their best players. He's kind of on the downside of his career at this point, but he's still, good. And he was good in this game. There were a couple times when he made Luna fall over. Remember that play where Luna kind of stuck his arm out and it hit the ball, and he kind of made him look silly on that play. But it doesn't matter when you're pressing forward like that. All you need is that one time in the game when they break down and you can step in and score. Like it's, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you look silly, slipping, falling, twisting. Still one of my favorite Diego Luna moments is when he's trying to follow that ball out of bounds and he's like, and falls over trying to find it. Classic.
So I wouldn't expect us to be 1-1 at half.
I didn't either.
I wouldn't have put money on that.
I think it was justified based on how we played. Like, I think they kind of outplayed us in the first half, but I think in the second half we kind of owned them.
You're muted.
No, I'm not. You're muted.
No. But anyway, yeah, I was muted.
Your mom's muted.
I was just like, mouth is moving. He's not talking.
Yeah. I agree. I was surprised that we were tied. But yeah, what were you saying?
Wait, so you guys think that we didn't really possess or we didn't have that many options in the first half?
I think we deserved the goal we got. Of course, it was a great goal, but I think they had more quality chances in the first half than we did. And shots ended up 18-11. They had 18, we had 11. They had 7 shots on goal, we had 5. You know what I mean? So they outshot us, they outpossessed us, they outpassed us. We were just clinical in front of goal for the first time in forever.
I didn't really see that in the first half. I didn't really see that. I felt that like with our possession, we were able to get outside and close to the baseline pretty much, and we were threatening. We weren't fully connecting. Piol was doing a pretty good job not getting too far out of space. But I think that first half, I mean, we could have, if the moments were right, we could have gotten away with 2.
Yeah, and I think we were pretty dangerous too down that right side. I think Gozo, like a couple people were like, "Oh," because he made 1 or 2 decisions that were like juvenile, lack of a better term. But other than that,
stealing your parents' car.
Yeah, he stole his parents' car where they were gone for the weekend. And then he also decided to
Have a
throw
party.
a snowball at a car.
Oh no, you threw a party.
He threw a snowball at a car when nobody was watching.
Come to my
Anyway.
party, it's going to be a rager.
We're going streaking through the quads, man.
Other than those 2 things that Gozo did, he was dynamic. He was getting wide. He was owning Bombino. Bombino had to take him down, got a yellow card, right? Like held him up, and like he made a run outside, and then he faked an outside run and made a run in the channel. And I was like, bro, rip it! And then he crossed it, and he missed Piol twice on those 2 different times. And I was like, dude, either one of those goes in, and we're so close. Like, but just getting those opportunities to me was like, bro was playing so well for 18. He's 18 years old, and he's playing first team ball that well. I'm so excited for Gozo, bro.
Yeah, that seemed to be the consensus, too, all over the interwebs after the game, that he was a difference maker, and maybe he's going to lock down that starting spot for a minute with Mark Chuse working.
Mark, yeah. Tom's
if he's
out.
out, he's working that injury. But that Wolf and Lockie are still over there and still available. So we'll see how it goes.
No, and they're doing pretty good too.
One to your points. One of the things I was thinking about when watching the game is that when they're at home, maybe it's because they're on the road, they're a little looser. You could feel it in the last couple of home games when the game was not going their way. You could just feel the stadium just getting smaller and smaller, and the players just getting tighter and tighter. It felt like there was tons of pressure when they're on the road. They seem like they're playing with more abandon and trust in the universe and getting out there. Halftime stats, expected goals, kind of went San Diego's way. Focused on, showed what Tyler was talking about. 1.56 expected goals for San Diego in the first half to 0.31 for RSL. So they did create some chances, but they probably weren't as dynamic as the XG wanted them. But they had 7 shots. We had 4. They had 4 on target, and we just had the one that went in the back of the net. But San Diego did outpossess us pretty dramatically, 59% to 41. But RSL did have some pretty effective possession, obviously, in the first half.
So who would you give your orange slice to?
We're going to halftime. Halftime. Orange slice. I'm going to steal it, and I'm going to go with Gozo for being the young guy and having an impact. And like you said, there were some great passes that almost found RF Piol, who's probably feeling it now. You got the new striker on board. That's nice to see that pressure is going to be on there. It's for them to finish. Although that has been the Kansas City fans talking about Willie Agata. He is great creating chances, but finishing them, not so much.
Well, that's one of the things that I overheard Kurt say. Is they have 2 stats that RSL tracks. Okay, one of them is expected goals. The other one is expected. What was it? What was the way he said it? I can't even remember the name of it. But it was like expected chances created, something like that. Like based on where they were on the field, should they have done better to create a chance, right? And Agata was sky high in that stat. And he said, with our coaches or something, I think he scored 12 goals last year coming off the bench primarily, something like that. So like kind of Anderson Julio-ish numbers, if you think about that. So, man, if he can step in and just do that, that's fantastic on this team, right? So I really think that they brought him in a little bit for that stat wise, but also like Kansas City didn't want to pay him, and that's kind of one of the things Kurt said as well. Like Kansas City wasn't ready to pay him what he's worth, and we were, and so that's why they made the trade, is because he knew he could get paid if he came to Salt Lake. So,
and he's not a designated player though.
No, but he's on a team that wants him versus a team that sees him as a backup. So I think that's a big takeaway for him. And then he's like, yeah, plus my boy and Ellie, we're both from Nigeria, so he's pretty excited about that connection. And then he's like, Johnny Russell, man, like that guy, he's next level. He's next level. You guys are going to love him, Johnny Russell. So maybe we take some halftime time and talk about that, unless we want to hand out some more orange slices, Brennan.
You two need to do an orange slice, and then we can get to our Kansas City.
My orange slice is Diego Luna. What's your orange slice? And let's talk about
my orange slice goes to Brian Bell for getting knocked out and not remembering anything about the first half.
Perfect. Okay, let's go to the next Tyler segment.
The next Tyler segment. All right. What do you think, Johnny Russell? Once rejected, now accepted.
What's his position going to be?
He's always been a winger. Always a winger. Usually a right-sided winger who loves to come on the inside. But he'll play right wing, left wing. Come at people late in the game. That's what he's got left. He's 35. He's probably got a year, maybe 2. If he stays after it and stays fit.
And maybe he's a player that they are prepping to have, and they will need if Diego Luna keeps playing the way he does. and teams come calling and want to write a big enough check that RSL will let him go, and they're going to need somebody.
Do we really like him though? Do we really think he's talented enough?
I like Johnny Russell.
Yeah, I feel like somebody should go back in the podcast and look for that. And I think you said you hate Johnny Russell. I'm pretty sure you've said that multiple times.
Me or him?
He's a
Brent. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I will say this. Johnny Russell has always been a thorn in our side, and he is the type of player that you don't like when he's on the other team, but you just might like when he's on your team. He's not Diego Chara, which, yeah. I like what Johnny Russell brings. But let's have I've heard some different thoughts on the transfer window and how it's gone this year. People have been focused maybe on the fact that they had only won 3 games before Saturday. Things weren't going RSL's way. We had the debacle with Chicho. We had the debacle with Manuel not making it into the club. And then we had the debacle with Robert from Boa Vista, Benedict or whatever his name was, who made it all the way over here and was at the club, maybe even kicking a ball around with the club before Boa Vista changed their tune and the deal just didn't get done. So what are your thoughts on the transfer window, the main transfer window, and what we were able to do when, in a sense, we lost some good players and we brought in 2 offcasts from Kansas City? Was it good enough? I know I've heard a lot of people going off on this and they're not pleased.
Well, for me, it's always like, we'll see. We'll see, right? Just like when Nick Romando got traded here, and then we tried to trade him right away back to somewhere else, and then he got stuck here, and we were like, all right, you're our starting keeper, dude. And he was like, okay, I'll be the freaking best MLS keeper in history. And then we were like, okay, thanks. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see. And that's how all of it is with team sports. You don't know, and you're never going to know until we get some time behind it. So pontificating and sticking your neck out there and saying this is going to happen or that's going to happen.
Did you just say pontificating?
Pontification, brother.
Oh my gosh, man. You guys have been reading some books, haven't you?
Yeah, buddy. Just because we grew up on the west side doesn't mean we got to talk like it, right?
That's impressive, man. Sorry to interrupt. That was real impressive.
What's up?
Anyway, I think Johnny kind of reminds me of Johnny Steele. Remember Johnny? Johnny Steele, the tatted up Northern Ireland player who played for us for a long time, tough as nails, got some crazy good shots and goals for us. In the end, we moved him on to like Red Bull or something, but I think Johnny Russell gives us a good boost, and it's the kind of temporary boost we need. He's a professional. He's been around for a long time. Billy's happy to have him here. He's excited that we're bringing Johnny back, and he's like, you guys will love him. He's gonna be great. If you watched our YouTube channel and saw those, postings that we posted on the YouTube channel, then you would know that is a thing that we do. Yeah, so pretty cool, I think. We'll see. Hopefully the team gels, that's the big thing for me is, can we get the team to gel and do something together? Like, it's hot and cold right now, man. We win or we lose. There's nothing in between. It's kind of weird. It's a strange season so far for us, but hopefully this is something that works well for us. So we'll see.
I think Pablo is probably the best at combining, getting that camaraderie and having them work together, even though they're coming from whole different nations and backgrounds and stuff. I think that's only a couple of games before they're bought in or bought out.
One of the things with Johnny Russell that I like, and I'm hoping that he brings, and I think he will, is the intangibles. The veteran player on the team that kind of can be a, not necessarily a leader, but an example of how to be a professional and kind of bring some intangibles in the game, which the club has kind of sorely been lacking. I mean, we have one DP, and he was outplayed by Xavier Gozo, wouldn't you say, this game? I mean, Diogo shows up a little bit. He shows up occasionally, but we need a player that has some experience that can bring some gravitas to the game and to the pitch. And I think having Johnny Russell with Diego Luna, man, I think that might be really dangerous.
Yeah, I think that might be really good, but we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes things don't happen the way we expect, right? Like in the San Diego game, giving up a goal right before halftime usually spells disaster for RSL, but we ready to go out of halftime yet? I didn't
You
ask
are.
Well, let's see.
I didn't ask permission from you, Brennan.
What would you say your grade would be? Was it good enough in the transfer window? We did not pick up another designated player that people were expecting. Is that
I don't know,
just?
dude. I don't go into that. Like it seems more like you. Why don't you tell us what you think?
I think with all the things that were going down with the new owners and all of that, I think if I were to grade it, I'd give it a B minus, C plus for the window. At the end, if just think how bad it would be if we didn't get Agata and Russell. That's definitely probably a D minus. So I think they saved the window, so to speak. I know they were. I think they had Agata high on their list. And they've been trying to get him before, but I thought it was. I don't think it was A. I don't think it was like an A or A plus. I think if they had maybe pulled off the Boa Vista deal with Robert, maybe that brings it up. So, but I'm with you. We'll just have to wait and see because it could be addition by subtraction. By not having that player, not having that superstar, the team has to rely on each other, and it could be good. It could also be a disaster, but
When was the last time we had a DP like before Chicho? When did we actually have a DP of that caliber?
Never. We never had a DP that good ever.
Never. So all the people that are upset with most of the transfer windows are living off of the Chicho era of like, oh, Chicho's amazing. We're going to be able to get players like this now because we bought one. But in all reality, we're probably not going to spend the kind of money we did to get another player of that caliber.
well, the only one I can think of who was not a Chicho but was a quality DP that is Demir
Spindola?
Krylak.
Oh,
Demir Krylak. I mean, he's been gone for a couple of seasons, but he wasn't a Chicho. He wasn't that dynamic, but he was a fan favorite, and he was a solid player, but he wasn't a Chicho. But I think that's the last solid designated player that we could count on that brought all the intangibles and helped the team
I
in
mean,
the big picture.
Severino was like individual star.
no.
I mean, he
No,
was. He was our leading
no.
scorer that year.
Oh
Like,
yeah, he could be
7
our leading
goals.
scorer, but he
right?
is not,
I mean,
right.
right?
He's not the level.
So,
Yeah.
but you're right, Brendan. It has been very hit, mostly miss when it comes to finding that big DP. And we'll see what happens with the Millers and how tight they're going to be with the purse strings.
Well, you also got to think, when is Luna's contract?
Not off the top of my head. But
What was that guy's? Wait,
I
what
think
was
he
that
goes
guy's
through
Sam?
26.
What was that guy Sam that played for us for like a year, maybe a
Yeah,
half? He's from like Ghana or something.
yeah. Sam Johnson.
Sam Johnson, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, he was a DP style person before DPs were DPs that came to us and we had huge expectations for him and then he was kind of a hose head, right? He was like
Oh,
he was out
Party.
partying during
Yeah.
COVID and stuff. Whoops. Had to be an example, man. It got you partying.
because I mean, well, like, what about Menendez? I mean, he was a DP, right?
I don't
Johnny?
think Johnny. I
Who?
don't think he
Menendez was a
Who?
DP, wasn't he? I'm pretty sure. Him and what's the other guy? Bees? Wasn't those two? It was Menendez and Beasler. That's who it was.
No, Beasler was not. Come on, bro. Beasler was a stud. Beasler was one of my favorites, bro. He just always did his job, very professional, showed up, worked hard, made a career out of it. What was it, 12 years later? He was still playing backup center back, bro. Still just hanging out, winning fouls. Like, man, I love that guy.
So, like you said, in the transfer window, I thought it was serviceable. I think it turned out at the end to be better than I thought it would be, even though the Boa Vista thing didn't come through. But I do like Agata and I do like Johnny Russell. I think they could be quality players that help the team grow together as opposed to like they did with Chicho and just kind of default to Chicho often.
Yeah. What about Burrito Martinez, dude? He was a DP. Come on, that guy for mutually agreeing to part ways You know, he did some good stuff for us.
And Tyler, thank you for going down Wikipedia to find all of RSL's designated players.
No, these are just guys that are coming to mind, dude. I was just thinking of them. I was like, oh yeah, Burrito, dude. He was pretty good though.
I
I
like
was talking to
Burrito.
Yeah, DJ one time was telling me that he thought Burrito was the guy that was going to stick here, you know, was going to make a big deal about it and stick around, and just ended up not. You never know. A lot of
Yeah,
factors going on.
it could go all wrong, but I think this team might need some quality players more than they need a superstar to build up, and maybe that opens if they play well between now and the next transfer window. That might be attractive to getting a designated player to finish out the season, but it's probably just going to be a grind from here on out and see if they can X-dog the crap out of it.
Yeah. All right, we do the second half yet?
Yeah, let's go. Second half.
All right, woo!
The half that RSL dominated, according to Tyler Thomas, and he was there. He should know.
Man, we started off well. We were kicking the ball around real good, whipping it in, getting some pressure dog going. And then ball gets crossed. Luna flicks it on. Guy kind of cleans him out and kind of shakes it off. Comes back at it. And then they swing it around. And because Luna's all like, give me the ball, give me the ball, they just don't even guard Sam. They're like, this guy plays center back? Who is that? And Sam takes it. I don't know if it is or not, but it felt like his first shot of the year. And he just ripped it, man. Put it into the corner. Oh, wait, that was a 66 minute. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, well, we want to talk about there was another call, Tyler. This is where VAR comes in and actually goes RSL's way.
Oh my gosh, man. Dude.
That's not like you to jump ahead, Tyler.
You even missed like a good portion to like start up the conversation with.
All right, you start it. I'll catch up later.
I like this shot where it was just a few minutes, like a minute before the handball, or maybe it was the same play, where the ball came in and Diego Luna's right there, and he wants to tee it up for his hat trick, and he just barely gets a toe on
it. Yeah. Full, dude.
But then the ball came in, and it was like let's see, I was just watching.
And then did you see the Gonzalez dummy that he should have just freaking shot? I was like, you're the DP, bro. Shoot the ball. He just let it run through, and nobody was behind him. I was like, oh, man. Come on, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah, Diogo is just struggling to find his place on this team. But, so, the first penalty kick in the first half, that was soft. Is this penalty soft on the other side?
Didn't they say it was his left hand?
So his hand was up like this.
Yeah.
And he shot, like, Ojeda was shooting, attacking the goal, so he was going right upper 90, right? That's where he was going. And here's the thing. This is why I like the call. Shots on frame. It's not like going into Nowheresville and it hits his arm, right? Shots looks like it's going in based on the angle he hits it at. The player sticks his hand up and moves it towards the ball and hits the ball with his hand, right? So second strike. Third strike, you're out, bro. Like, you moved your hand toward the ball and your hand's above your waist, right? Like, that's not a normal running position. It's not a natural position. So all those things are out, and that's an easy call for a penalty. And my little brother, I was standing next to him, he's like, that's a penalty, bro. He handballed that. And like, nobody else in the stadium even saw it, I guess. I don't know.
See, I knew it was going to happen.
You knew it was going to happen. It wasn't me this time. It wasn't me, it was him.
Something was going to happen, and he
watch a penalty, bro.
His brother's going to say, hey, this is good. This is what happened. And then, magically,
he's like, bro, that's a penalty.
I told you, dude.
I told you it was a penalty.
No one in the entire stadium. Everybody's like, what? What's this call about, dude? And there is my brother. Me and my brother, like, dude, dude, like, who needs VAR? You just need the Thomas brothers.
Dude, between the finalists, we got it, bro. Don't worry about it.
I love it so much.
The youngest Thomas brother's like, that's a penalty.
Just before it happened, man.
Yeah, penalty.
What do you think, Brandon? Penalty?
Handball.
based on the history of all the other stuff, yeah, 1,000% a penalty. I think like what he was saying is pretty true. It's pretty correct. Ball going towards goal, and it's actually going towards goal. He's lifting his hand up. That's not a normal position. Yeah, it was nice that one of the calls actually went our way. Didn't get lost in there. So that was nice.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a penalty. I think it's past soft, and I think it's just one you have to call because, like you said, he was trying to get out of the way, and it might have been his natural reaction. He sticks his arm up across his face, but the ball's clear up here and hits him like he's trying to protect his face, and I think you have to call that a penalty all day.
Yep. Outside the silhouette of his body, all that stuff. Check. Penalty. So Diego Luna just casually walks up there and kicks it in. What'd you think about that?
Very nice. What's there to think?
Well,
Set the goal the wrong way?
yeah, it was just a good penalty kick. I just miss the days when like penalty kicks were elevating the ball, like they were kicking the ball. It seems like in MLS, there's just so many balls on the ground. Like their shots are always on the ground. Like why is that?
Dude, you know why? You grew up playing on a field. It wasn't a pitch. You couldn't roll the ball in, dude. If you got a weird bounce on your kick on the floor and you missed because it hit that squirrel hole, oh, just like molehill all of a sudden pops up out of nowhere and knocks the ball out of the goal. That's why everybody shot in the air before, dude. You couldn't, the air wouldn't block your shot, man.
You're very passionate about that.
I played high school ball primarily on a bumpy freaking field. It was a field because it didn't pitch. It did the opposite of a pitch. It kind of was like the low part was in the middle of the field. They redid Hunter High, though, and made it really nice. But not the first couple of years. It was the football practice field. So when you shot a penalty kick, there's no way you shot on the ground because you never knew what was going to happen.
So was it like oh man, if only we had this pitch?
Hey, state would have been different if we had the right pitch, is all I'm saying.
I'm going to put the PK over those mountains, bro.
Dude, seriously.
I do like what Brendan's saying. I like it when they put that PK right through the left corner, the left side netting or the right. Make them try and stop it. And I really want soccer, FIFA, MLS to crack down on the stutter steps. I really get tired of those stop and start. Luna went straight up and made the shot.
You're going against guys that are like 7 feet tall almost. Nah, you gotta have the stutter step. I like the stutter step. Stutter steps are the man. You gotta be smart and do a stutter step so you can score. Get the goalie to dive out of the way. Like I get it, it's hard for the goalies, but it's a penalty for a reason. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you want to get those goals up. So whatever.
Doesn't need to be a layup, but you know. So overall, the ref had a.
Then what happens? Well, according to the experts on the internet, I guess.
Because he missed the handball, right? He called a super soft penalty, and then we'll get to the other dumb thing he did here in just a minute. But it seemed he was just behind the whole game.
I was listening to the call on a drive home with DJ, and he was calling it the Oprah game because you get a yellow, and you get a yellow, and you get a yellow. Oprah's reffing the game today. So let's. Everybody got a yellow. There was
in the second half he had it out a lot. In the first half it was Katranis right before halftime. I think his foot was like 1 inch on the box, and he gave him a yellow because he moved his foot off the line, but he thought he was on the line. Like he sat and argued with Katranis about his toe being over the line this far, dude.
So from the 73rd minute,
and a yellow card for it. It just seems so dumb.
Lozano got a yellow in the 73rd minute, and then Quinton got a yellow in the 83rd, and then Gonzalez got one in the 86th, and then Alvarado in the 87th, and then 90th plus 3, Hidalgo got another one. Oh, and then Hidalgo got one in 90 plus 3, and then 90 plus 6, Hidalgo got another one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellows in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, the Bombino deserved his, man. It was a second, really just clocked a player. He clocked Ojeda. He clocked Couple. I think he got 3 really good hits in on us before he got his yellow. So he earned his, and then Chucky earned his by delaying the restart and kind of throwing a fit. Q earned his because he kicked the ball away, I think.
So what
I,
what happened
I
with
didn't see what
Hidalgo
happened
in the
against
second
Oliver.
yellow though? Like what was his course? Like he just rolled the ball? Like what was it?
He went over to the sideline to get the ball, and the other guy threw the ball at him, right? And so there were 2 balls there, but he could have made a whole meal out of it, honestly. He could have like went to catch the one and knocked it back on the field and then like, you know what I mean? But he didn't. He let that ball roll out of play, and then he turned and he went to throw it in and went, "Oh, wait, you throw it in." And he set the ball down and walked away, and the ref gave him his second yellow. Like it wasn't even bad. It was like I think the ref was just like, hey, like, and Andrew Weeb even said this on the frickin' replay. What is that thing called?
Instant replay.
Instant replay. He said, why not manage the game better? Why not say, come on, hurry up, or say, hey, I'm adding time. You know what I mean? There's lots of different ways. And Bodie wasn't warned. He didn't take the last throw in super slow. You know what I mean? Like, it's just poor game management by the ref. It's like he forgot he had already yellow carded him. And so he yellow carded him again and then was like, oh, whoops, when he looked down at his card. And he was like, oh, crap, I already yellow carded that guy. I guess you got red, buddy. And you could almost tell he was surprised when he looked at his own pocket. It's like, oh, bro, do better.
We gotta treat him better though. We gotta treat those refs way better.
Yeah, we do. Be nice to them.
Okay.
So overall, we got a 3-1 victory on the road.
Wait. We haven't talked about Sam's sweet goal yet, bro.
Well, you did.
You
We're
did
coming
already,
back.
man.
We'll
You
come back to
already
it. Go ahead.
said it.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Ah,
Come
So
back to the
then the
goal.
ball comes out to Sam, and he gets no respect, man. No respect for Sam. So he takes a touch. He just rips it with all his left-footed glory. And here's the thing, guys. At practice, after practice, I said to Sam, Sam, no, we didn't have a conversation with him. It wasn't about him scoring, though. I was setting it up for that, but that's not really what happened. What really happened was I said, hey, Sam, you kind of look like, well, I don't know, man, like Vera out there. Like, just the way your strut goes, man. Like, you're just going to knock somebody out one of these times. And he's like, really? Is that the vibe I'm giving off out there? And I'm like, yeah, dude, keep it up. And he's like,
planting the seed, man. You were just planting the seed.
right. So when he scored, I was like, fantastic. I was so excited about that. That was really cool. Cool moment for Sam.
Even better for the Thomases.
I didn't see that happening pregame, right? I didn't see our third goal of the match being done by our center back with a lightning rod. I was just, dude, but that, like, kids, learn this, right? When the ball pops out and you're close to the box, take a touch, let it rip. Just do it, right? Like, it's not like Sam's ridiculously better than everybody else on the team at doing that. Probably Vera's more likely to do it in the next game. But for him to just do it with confidence, that's what translates to the next level. So do that, kids. Take a touch, have a shot. Set it up, rip it. It's like in life.
Yeah, just take a shot.
Take your shot. Don't throw away your shot.
You'll never make the shot you don't take.
Yeah, you miss 100%
Fair
of the
point.
shots you don't take.
And Ferrer, was watching the replay, and you're absolutely right. He looks down at his card and he's like, "Oh, I already
Yeah,
gave
he
you
looks up, he's like, "Oh, crap."
I gave you a yellow." And he reaches for his back pocket, and they're just like, he's a young kid. He'll recover. RSL.
Well, I thought you'd be excited about that, Brant. I thought you'd be like, Blair got it ready. We'll be playing next game.
Well, he probably had a little better game than he's had the last couple. But right now, with the injuries piling up, I would think we could use Bodie Hidalgo. We could probably use Brody. He's only played like 34 minutes in Kansas City this year.
Oh,
Pretty good trade, though. We gave up Bodie, and we got Sam. We got 2 really good players for him, right? I mean, in the end.
Well, I think, talking about the transfer window, the whole transfer window and the start of the season, Sam Junqua has turned out to be a very good pickup. It was a trade, right, with Dallas?
Yeah. Where we?
I think he could turn out to be a solid player. So that's a great trade. Although Anderson Julio did score I think, didn't FC Dallas beat Miami 4-3 over the weekend?
Yeah, I
And
think so.
Anderson Julio had a very lovely goal. Was not offside.
What?
They pass over the top, and he chests it forward and then beats the keeper. So good job, Anderson Julio. But stats for the game, RSL did kind of pick up the possession in the second half. They ended up with 45, almost 49% to 54% for San Diego. So that kind of shows that RSL had more possession in the second half. And you're right, RSL was up 3-1, so in the last few minutes, San Diego was kind of peppering the goal, 18 shots to 11 for RSL. But they only had 7 shots on goal, and we had 5. So that's pretty decent. Other things, we only had 4 yellows. We got them all in the end of the, seemed like in the second half there.
Oh, well, Willie Agata, do we got to have him? He missed the obvious chance right in front of the goal. Pablo Ruiz, circa 2022, just got it wide open.
Well, that's kind of who he is. That's what the Kansas City fans are saying, is he will create some chances, but he will send it everywhere but on frame.
So we got a DP and it seems like we got Diogo and Willie Agata that are the same person.
I think we'll have to wait and see, but I think Willie Agata is going to be a lot more active and inserting himself into the run of play, into the game, more than Diogo does.
Yeah, the game was an upgrade when he came on for Puyol, and I like Puyol and I like what he brings, but he's not very decisive right now in striking the ball at goal. I don't know that he had a shot in this game, did he, Puyol?
Yeah, I don't know.
But he was a part of play. He was
Right.
But
Right.
Willie
But we
Agata
need our striker to be
maintains
more of a
his
striker.
space better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Puyol creates more out there, and he tries to do more and has a higher impact on the game. He will continue to have more of an impact than Forster Asiago will for RSL, because Forster Asiago loaned out to Lexington, I believe, in the USL. So
They kept Berea and shipped out him and kept Puyol. And
so
Good choice. It was a good choice.
now let's see what we got now.
hopefully he'll get some chances to improve his game and have a lot more playing time. That's what you want. So overall, I think a surprise. I think RSL played as well and probably outplayed San Diego. San Diego is an expansion team. It's a 3-game losing streak they're sitting on right now, so maybe they're coming back to reality.
Worst in history.
Yeah, their worst losing streak in the history of the club, and RSL put it on them. So I think
We're not going to drop double fingers at them and start screaming about how their grandma sucks, right?
She's not a very good soccer player. I mean, if you put her on the pitch, she's not going to do well.
Right, but let's leave it at that point, right? Leave it there. Don't go deeper about how. Anyway.
Yeah, you want to be creative. Be creative. You don't be vulgar. Be creative. But be a fan. Number one, be a fan.
Yeah.
And glad you're there to be fans, and you've got the time to travel around, watch RSL. I mean, that's fantastic. But it would be nice. You want to be noticed, recognized as the club with the best fans. And I think RSL has some great fans that follow them around. Good job. So anything else on the game other than don't flip Tyler off, he gets mad?
Well, I got flipped off 3 times, all by RSL fans.
What?
I know, right? Whatever. I'll tell you that story off the podcast.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you say?
Sticking around for that. So RSL had 2 more games on the road. They go up to Vancouver, who has just been lights out. Vancouver took it to Miami. I think they beat them 2-1 at home, or 2-0, excuse me, at home in front of like 53,000 people at BC Place, I think it was.
Oh, last week you're talking about.
Yeah, in the Champions Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup. And they play them again on Wednesday in Miami before RSL heads up to Vancouver over the weekend. So
right.
that could be played well in RSL's favor. See how rotated Vancouver is after playing their best, trying to keep that 2-goal advantage over Messi and the boys down in Miami. And then
go ahead.
And then after that game, they head down to FC Dallas before they head home for the next game in a couple of weeks. But you were going to say?
Yeah, we are in the final 4 of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So Vancouver, Miami. Vancouver's leading. Cruz Azul Tigres is also in play as well. So those are the final four. So it will be a Mexican club, either Cruz Azul or Tigres, against Miami or Vancouver, whoever wins that game.
Viva la Máquina.
Brant's cheering for the Blue Cross. The Cruz
La
Azul.
Máquina Celeste. Yeah, I
Yep.
am partial to Cruz Azul. I don't follow them like I used to, but I am partial to them. So yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens, see what RSL club shows up, and maybe this is what they've been waiting for. They've got 2 more road games to really bond, be on the road, get Agata and Johnny Russell acclimated to the club and fighting for the club. And who knows? I didn't think they would win this game. Didn't think they'd win the next game, and I didn't think they'd win the next game. I thought that they would come back with 3 losses. To be totally honest.
Yeah, we might see that with the game in Vancouver since they're focused on Champions Cup. You know, they'll probably get a heavily rotated side, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll get some Demir Krylock action. He'll probably score, but we'll also, score 3 on them as well. So I'm predicting 3-1 RSL.
That's a good goal. That's a good score to predict. I like.
Sorry I
that.
beat you to it, Brant. Hey, you can't pick it. You gotta pick something else.
Yeah, I'm much more bullish on RSL after this game. Maybe that's what they need is to play on the road, play loose on the road, and really get back to how we know they can play with players like Luna and Ojeda and Anelli. Maybe this is what the doctor ordered. Because like I said, watching them at home, anything that goes wrong, they just get so flipping tight. And you can see them pressing. And if things don't go their way, if the calls don't go their way, they just kind of lose focus on the game. And you didn't see that against San Diego. Maybe being on the road and kind of like just going out there. Hey, how worse can it get? Just go out there and play. And don't let the
What's your prediction for the score?
3-0 RSL.
Nice.
How's that?
All right, Brennan. What are you calling?
2-1 RSL.
Nice. All right,
And
Brant.
whatever happens, I told Sam about it just before.
Sam? Okay, you're calling your shot? You think Vera's going to be out another game?
Yeah, I think. No, actually, I think.
Concussion protocol?
Gozo gets a goal.
Okay, nice. I'm calling a T Wolf goal.
Ooh, about time.
Yeah, we need a Teen Wolf goal.
Ooh. So how about Crawley Town, huh?
All right. Well, let's talk about the Reds. The Red Devils, Crawley Town. Effectively, mathematically, they still have a chance, but effectively, they are relegated. It's pretty sad. Right now, if you look at the standings, there's 1 game to go, and they are in the last spot, right? The relegation spots are 21, 22, 23, 24. They're sitting in 21st. They are 3 points below Burton, but Burton has a game in hand and they play on Tuesday. If Burton gets a point, then we're done. A winner, a draw, and Crawley Town is officially relegated. If they lose, and hopefully they will lose big, but they probably not. Who does Burton play? They're playing Wigan Athletic, and Wigan currently sits at, where is Wigan? They're in 16th and Burton is 20th. And Wigan is safe. So that's what happens when you get to the end of the season when clubs are safe and other clubs aren't. They kind of, just kind of mail it in. So I expect Burton to get a point and seal it up for the season. But if they do lose, then it comes down to goal differential if Crawley Town wins against Shrewsbury, who are at the bottom on Saturday. And they only have to make up 12 goals. So Burton needs to lose by 12 goals, or Crawley needs to win by 12 goals. So yeah, we're kind of toast.
Just get one more point. It's easier than trying to score 12 in a game. That's what I heard.
Yeah, well, we only had a couple of games. One game we were up 4-1 at halftime and tied 4-4, and another game we were up 3-1 at halftime and lost 4-3. So those games matter, though. Every game counts. But it was a sad week. We lost travel TK Can, a guy I met. He would do the call for the games with Gary, and he would do the away games. And they just talked about how he was such a volunteer, and I was really struck by the different cultures we have between the United States and England, maybe some of the other clubs, because they're smaller clubs and they survive a lot of the time with volunteers, and And he would do the color commentary on the games, and he doesn't get paid, but he's a great guy. He passed away. And I really think, that's everybody be a fan. Tyler was talking about, fans of RSL, and some of them get a little too rowdy, but just be a fan. I mean, there are lines you don't want to cross. That's probably why they don't like the LAFC. LAFC fans went down to San Diego, and, you see guys getting knocked out cold after the game. And it's just, that kind of stuff is just uncalled for. You don't have to, sing Kumbaya at the end of the game, but you don't need to hurt each other either and have such, violent tendencies. I mean, but in England, they're known for that. I mean, that's why they don't let the supporters sit anywhere near the regular fans. So there's a lot of work to be done, but I think we can all do better and be better fans and focus on what's important. But Ken was really, truly an awesome guy. There's, great examples. We talk about John Jenna, who was the communications director for RSL that passed away from ALS. There's some other great fans for Real Salt Lake and soccer fans around the world. I mean, they had a minute. I really like the tradition that Ken passed away, and before the game, they had a minute applause for Ken and recognized him and put his pictures up on the big screen there. And I wonder, we don't do that enough on here because in the United States, because do fans really get that close to their clubs? Or clubs, maybe it's the other way. Maybe clubs don't get as close to their fans as they do in other areas simply because of size, right? It's a 5,000 seat stadium. It's a local club. For this year, they had 100,000 people attend the games. And that's 4 games for RSL. So, yeah, it sucks. We're getting relegated, but we'll be ready for
at the same
season.
time, Wrexham's getting promoted. I'm sure Brant is so happy about that too. Like the worst of both worlds.
Yep. I was watching that, and congratulations to Wrexham for 3. I think that's a record. That's the first time anybody's been promoted 3 seasons in a row, 3 levels in a row.
But remember, the first season they were there, they didn't get promoted. So
no. I think the
right,
first 2.
Yeah, it was the first 2.
There you go. Yep, and then 3 straight.
It is a great story, but I've seen that people are asking, well, has it just become Man City? Is it, you know what I mean?
They don't have anything close to the money of Man City. It's just a story.
Well,
Here's why.
about the connections.
Yeah, here's why I like it. I like it because it's Wales, and Wales has been kicked in the teeth economically and all these other ways. And for them to have like a glimmer of hope, like Swansea and Cardiff they were yo-yo teams for a while, and now they're just first division teams. They're not even they're not even Premier League teams anymore. They're championship teams, and I think one of them's getting relegated this year. So, like, for Wales to have a team to get behind that, I'm on board for that. That's why I'm on board. Otherwise, I could care less. But
yeah, I like it. I like the story. I do think that success. If you have too much success, it breeds animosity, so to speak. Nobody likes it when the same team wins all the time. So it kind of puts a damper on the Cinderella story when they're just outspending clubs in League 2, League 1, and we'll see what they'll be able to do in the championship.
That's the beauty of it.
Owners are supposed to do, though. Owners are supposed to spend. Like, having owners that are wealthy, that are willing to be, like, participating in all the in and outs of the club, that's what an owner should be. Like, they're just showing what an owner can do and how an owner can really take ownership of a club. Because, the money and all that, but really it's also the publicity. Ryan Reynolds is humongous. I mean, that coming out of that lower league to get to the next league, it was really just the fact that it was Ryan Reynolds. It had nothing to do with the money because they weren't forking out a ton of money at the beginning,
No, and the money has a greater effect over there because it doesn't take as much money. It takes a lot of money, but comparatively, the Millers just spent, $400 million, $600 million, whatever it was to buy RSL. And Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney spent $2.5 million to buy Wrexham. But then they've also invested wisely. and did it right. I mean, they haven't done it wrong, but comparatively, this year Crawley's budget is probably the lowest budget in the League One, and they're spending like between 2.5 and $5 million for the entire season on players,
Yeah, but then you compare that to Birmingham.
and they're paying 15 to 20, right?
Yeah, and they're in the second largest city in England. Most people forget that. Birmingham is the second largest city. It's London, then Birmingham, and they don't have a Premier League club. You know what I mean? And this club, I think, got bought by some U.S. investors too. So, in fact,
It can be done.
yeah,
And everybody loves the underdog. And Crawley has some American owners in there. Hopefully they're figuring out. We do have Scott Lindsay back, and he got them close. Had a couple of games not go their way in the last little bit, or they would have been closer to not being relegated. But if they can keep some of these players and not do what they did in the last season and get rid of all their great players, I mean, there's only one or
what they
two
should
players.
say.
There's only one or two players from the team that got promoted still on the club. I mean, Jeremy
Jeez.
and I think who was the right back. Anyway, there's only a couple. So yeah, so I don't necessarily begrudge them, but it also loses that that scrappy underdog, a little bit of that. But maybe the real underdogs will be next season in the championship. That will be a real challenge. League One, League Two. There's a big step. There's a big step from League One to League Two. There's a massive step from League One to the championship. And then there's a void, this huge void between the championship and the Premier League. As we saw, the three teams that got promoted, right back down, and it wasn't even close. All three of them embarrassed themselves immensely.
Yeah, we'll see how that does this year.
And the other thing too is, look at Luton Town. I think they are on the verge of a second.
Second what?
So Luton Town was in the Premier League last year. They're in the championship this year, and they are one spot off of getting relegated. 1 point ahead with one game to go. So it's going to come down to the last game to see if Luton Town, the Hatters, get relegated 2 seasons in a row. You don't want to get relegated because they can really pile up on themselves.
Yep. Yep, but with still some good soccer to be played in Europe. The Final Four is set, brothers. It's all good because Arsenal's still in. Bro, so excited. All right, Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain, or Paris Saint-Germain. I don't know how to say it because I'm not French and I don't speak it. But
tough matchup for you, man.
Tough matchup. But Arsenal has a 45% win probability, so I'm going with that. The other side, though, freaking Barcelona has been on a tear. They've been destroying everybody in their path, and they come up on Inter, who probably has the best defense left in the Champions League. So you got Italy, Milan, Inter Milan, right? You've got Barcelona, you've got Arsenal representing London, and then you've got Paris. So like 4 amazing cities, 4 amazing teams, 4 different countries. It's a beautiful thing. Watch the Premier League or the Champions League tomorrow. Arsenal versus PSG. And wow, it's going to be freaking amazing.
I'll be rooting for him. So that'll be great. I'd love to see them raise a trophy this year because they've really struggled to get to the top of EPL. And so I don't know what, once they lock down second place, do they just kind of like get an Uber and ride around?
Usually what happens.
Get an Uber and a little participation medals and drive around London.
Second place, baby!
We got this locked down. Second place. Yeah, and what an anticlimactic season. I know Premier League is fun to watch, but what rather anticlimactic on both ends.
Yeah, the only thing that's exciting right now is who's going to lock up that 4th or 5th Champions League spot. They're all within a few points, and there's a couple games left, so watch those close. There's like 5 or 6 teams clustered right up in there.
You got Aston
And
Villa,
then
Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, and Man City and Newcastle within 5 points of each other.
yeah, and then Man United's still going for the Europa League. Europa.
Yeah, we're playing the first leg. I think it's Thursday.
Yeah, it should be this week, right?
Yeah, this week. First
And
leg.
West Ham is still in the last one, so we'll see if England can make a full sweep. Could happen.
Hopefully, we can get something out of this year. Holy cow!
And congratulations to Liverpool for lifting the trophy, right? They get to drive around in a bus, on top of a bus, which is what everyone should do when you win the title. But I'll tell you a funny story. Liverpool was playing Tottenham, and the title was on the line. And my wife happens to be a Tottenham fan. This game starts and we leave, and she didn't check the score. And I told her the score. We were leaving after church, and I told her, Liverpool won. Sorry, 5-1. And she went like, oh. She was so upset that her club lost, and it just made me happy that I got married to someone that was really hurt. It hurt her heart that her team gave up the title to Liverpool. And 5 years ago, that never would have been the case. But soccer is an amazing sport. Soccer brings pain to everyone. That's what it does.
So much good pain.
Yeah. It's the hope that kills you.
And with that note, we bid adieu.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Follow us on all of our social medias. Share, like, subscribe, especially to the YouTube. We've been putting out, going to practice and get some interviews and doing all kinds of great stuff for you there. But please subscribe so we can do more. And if you think you deserve an orange slice, let us know. We would love to give you an orange slice.
See you later.
See ya.